Boring. Old bad. Old bad. Old fart.
Now these are names our generation, or not just our generation, but everyone likes to call older people. And my senior project goal is to stop that, to stop the disrespect. And this is why I chose to do my project on bridging the gap. I'm Kathryn L, and this is my project. So what I'm going to go over is my purpose, my goals, the steps I took, my artifacts, the ups and downs, my lessons learned, and a special thanks. So my purpose, my main focus was to create bonds between generations, to get rid of existing age gaps between our generation and older generations, and to teach about age equality and respect. So my goals for the year were to host a club, to host a seminar, to do a choreographed dance, and to show why it's important to respect everyone. So the very first thing I had to do was come up with an actual topic. And then I figured out a topic. I started the brainstorming. Then once the brainstorming, I had to come up with ideas to go with what I would think would be appropriate. Then I had to get lesson plans and make sure all the plans would be appropriate to go with all the topics. And then I had to write everything down and make sure I would have a schedule I could keep steady. So then came the scary part, the communication. For those of you who don't know me or do know me very well, I don't like talking to people unless I know them very well. But unfortunately, I had to get over it, and I had to grow up, and then I found a retirement home, a very good retirement. I found a very good retirement home that was going to be willing to go according to my schedule, go with the kids in my club schedule, and to be able to partake in everything that I had planned. So once I found a retirement home, I started a club. Before I could even think about getting people to sign up, I had to talk to Miss Matson. Miss Matson had to approve, and she had spoken to me and said, I don't want you to be the only one doing it. I want you to have people that are going to be there every visit. So then I looked at it, and I talked to a couple of people, and I got assurance that I would have people at every single visit, that I would have people by my side. So then I decided I would have the meetings every other Tuesday in Miss Smith's room. Do I need a Miss Smith's? In Miss Smith's room from 3:45 to 4:30. On specific days or specific holidays, we would make visits to retirement home, and on days we weren't busy with planning a visit, we would write letters for love for the elderly, or play bingo, or do whatever activity I had planned for the day. So when it came down to it, one of the activities that Ms. Matson and Ms. T had brought to my attention was Love for the Elderly. This organization was founded by Jacob Kramer in 2013, and his mission was simply to provide love for the elderly, the ones who usually don't get visits or don't get letters or don't get any time spent on them. So my club's first few meetings were based off of just writing letters. Most of the kids in my club did not like that idea. They thought they're in a club, they should not have to be forced to do any really academic work. So I decided that they should throw out whatever they could. They should draw if they had to, write a short letter, write a paragraph, or write a sentence and go on from that. And I will now be showing you some examples. So the one on the left is my very first letter that I got. I was very proud that day to see that actually people listened and that I was, not being taken as a joke, but seriously. And then the second picture is by the same girl, and she had decided that she had enough of letters. She had enough of writing, she didn't want to do it. The very last letter was just introducing themselves and showing them that the love is there. They might know them, they might know the person personally, but they do care, and the love is there. So then I had decided I should probably get more involved with secondary, and circles had come to my mind at first, but then I was introduced to do a project partnered with Kyle, and then that seminar led to a field trip. Now I will go into all of that more later. Okay, so after I read you these questions, I will show you a picture, and I want you to think about your answers after I read. So my first question was, what do you think when you see these pictures? What do you see when you see these pictures? And then what do you think they are thinking? Now, with this picture, a lot of the things that went through my mind was irony. Now, the reason I saw irony is because, one, she was a nurse in the reflection, and now she's being taken care of by a nurse. Now, as I showed these pictures, I got a couple of responses. Some were appropriate, some were, oh, there's a lady in a nursing outfit. Now, the responses I got were, no matter what age you are, you should look at yourself as strong in potential. She's looking back, and I know she had a great life, but because of her age, she does not think she is old, and she is still capable of what she did when she was younger. And my very last response was, I learned that we shouldn't treat them differently just because they're different. Now, I had decided that I was originally going to get my kids in my club to do a performance with the residents at the retirement home. But unfortunately, they had a booked schedule, and they didn't have enough time for us to come in and learn the steps well enough. So then I decided that, we'll perform a dance for them. And I thought, why would I think of a new entire dance when we have the school choice dance? So instead of teaching them a whole new dance, I brought up the idea of doing the school choice dance. I gave them the option of doing either the first one or the one we did this year. And they all chose to do the one this year. I would like to thank Thomas, Odette, Ashley, Albert, and Seth for participating. And then due to my lack of knowledge in the technology field, or the lack of being able to transfer things correctly, I only have the practice video. I don't have the actual video. But just to let you know, we got a great reaction. Everyone clapped, and those who could stand gave us a standing ovation. And in the part where we're clapping, the residents also clapped with us, which filled my heart. So here's the dance. That was just practice, guys. Okay, so then my club made visits. We didn't make as many as I hoped. I had hoped to make at least twice a month. But with scheduling on my part, on my peers' parts, and the retirement homes parts, they couldn't match. So my very first visit was probably my favorite one, and that's because of the stories that I was told by Thomas and Albert that they enjoyed it and they were glad they signed up. So initially what we did was we just wrapped gifts for those who weren't capable of wrapping it themselves. And then on November 14th, we had a Thanksgiving dinner. What we did, we initially just helped the volunteers that already signed up to help, and then we kept them company. We just listened and we sat there and we paid attention to them. We gave them some love. December, we had the initial handing out of the gifts, and that was fun. You got to see the smiles on their face and the joy and the different emotions that ran through their face and their minds and their expressions. And then on December 14th, they had a Christmas party. That one was probably the funnest visit I had. I got face paint. I enjoyed talking to them. I enjoyed answering the questions as to why I have a cat on my face. And then it came down to Easter, or April. We had an Easter party, and then when it came down to around the same time we had seminars, I was initially supposed to take the kids in the seminar to go to the retirement home to set up the flowers and vases that we did in the upcycle seminar. But initially that didn't happen because of scheduling conflicts and mixing my schedule with her schedule. It didn't just match. So the top left picture is the Christmas picture. It's essentially every single kid that showed up every single time I had a visit. And then the bottom left is a resident with one of our vases from the upcycle seminar. They were all very excited to see creative and unique things, and eventually they turned out missing. They were not centerpieces anymore, they were room decorations. And I thought that was very sweet and very kind, but it was kind of odd as to why they would just want a water bottle with paper. The one in the middle is the seminar that the field trip that we took. And then the top right is another resident, and he was very confused as to why he was holding that. But after a little explanation, he was very open and very thankful that he got one. And then the bottom right picture was the very, very first visit, and that was the gift wrapping, and that was just Albert and Thomas initially. And then it came down to the seminar. So Ms. Parrish and Ms. Smith thought it would be a great idea to combine Kyle and I's essential projects and turn them into something more. So initially we had the 4 seminars. It was based more off of Kyle's project goal, and I was just there for the end result. So the very first seminar date, I was instructed to bring water bottles. Now, those of you who know me, I drink water all the time. So I have water bottles all the time. And so what I did was I started collecting my water bottles, and I ended up with 2 garbage bags full of them. After the end result of just the first seminar, they were all painted and they were all pretty and they were very all over the place. So then I had talked to the resident, or the director, the activities director at Del Mar, and I had initially said, we're gonna bring, or can we bring centerpieces that we made at school? And she said, that's fine, that's great, as long as you'll be able to set them up and you'll be able to pick them up. And I said, there's no problem. And what I did, I thought, just the water bottles are not gonna be enough. So then Ms. Parrish and Ms. Smith both gave me the idea of putting flowers. So 3 club meetings, maybe 4 meetings later, we had a bunch of flowers, and we finally got the chance to go take them with our very last seminar. So the field trip didn't go as planned or as well as I had hoped. Everyone, like all of the students, behaved well and I had no problem. It was more of a should have planned it step by step instead of just agreeing that I was going to be there at this time and, drop them off and then go. So it was more of a miscommunication as to why it didn't work out to all of my expected plans. So now it's up to the ups and downs of my senior project, and my very first up or good would be that I found an amazing yet beautiful and beautiful retirement home that was willing to put up with my odd schedule and put up with the kids that I would be bringing in. Besides the point that there was a very big age limit, it kind of set me back on things. My next up, I always had someone willing to help me, whether it was the kids in my club or it was my teachers. My next up would probably be the great people that I had in my club. It was initially the same 4 to 5 people every meeting, but I think it's over quantity. It's over quality, not quantity. And my down is the scheduling, not only on my end, but with the retirement end. It could have gone a lot smoother and a lot easier, but since it didn't, it was kind of a negative impact. Procrastination, I usually, for the last few meetings, I waited till the last minute to prepare everything for my club, which I shouldn't have because those were the most scrambled. And then it came down to the lack of ideas. So we played bingo twice because I really couldn't think of anything else. And then I made them do word searches and crossword puzzles, and I think I'm the only weirdo that likes doing those. So my lessons learned, my very big first one is not to procrastinate, that it's not going to get me anywhere by procrastinating. It's also no matter how important watching TV or watching Netflix is more than doing my schoolwork, I would much rather not have procrastinated. My second lesson learned is ask and you shall receive. I have this very big pride thing, and I don't like asking for help, even though I should probably get over that. So the more I progressed, I learned that asking for help isn't a sign of weakness, but yet a sign of strength, considering I took not notice of my pride, but took notice that the essential help was needed. Calendars Calendars, I had realized, are my very best friend when it comes to planning things with multiple people, and especially people who don't go to school with me and don't see me on a daily. And then teamwork makes the dream work. And I essentially had figured that out, that surrounding yourself by people who people who are going to be able to there to be people who are going to be able to be there always and push you to your potential. So my resources are Christy Newsom, which was the activities director at Delmar Gardens. Miss T, for sitting there and listening to my complaints as to how much I didn't want to do this. Miss Smith, for being there at every visit. Miss Parrish, for helping out when it was needed the most. And Ms. Matson, well, there would be no project without you. And, well, overall, I loved Okay, so overall, I loved every part of it. I loved the stress, the freakouts, the meltdowns. They helped me build a stronger character and to become a better leader. The experience at the retirement home and just in general, being able to be in front of a group of kids and instructing them on what to do. And then the kids in my club, I wouldn't have a club or a project without them. So thank you to everyone who contributed in my project, whether it was a little thing or it wouldn't have happened without you being there. So Ms. Parrish, thank you. Ms. Matson, Ms. Lori, senior class for pushing me to want to graduate with you guys. Albert, Thomas, Odette, Ashley, and Seth. Miss T, thanks. All your help means a lot. Miss Smith, I said I wasn't gonna cry. Miss Smith, thank you for sticking with me. I just want to say overall that I'm very thankful for given this opportunity, because without it, I don't think I would have had the potential to be able to be up here or be up anywhere, whether it's college or work, to be able to speak in front of people. So I just want to leave you with this quote. Some people are old at 18, some are young at 90. Time is just a concept that humans created. Thank you.